Great news, everyone. Our MVP is a total success.
Thank you.
Thank you. Many travelers are using our application ahead of their trip to Mandalore to find their space train. Although you could say it's suffering from its success because a lot of people end up showing at the spaceport only to be told that all the space trains are already full.
Oh, brilliant. I would like to meet the mastermind who thought that an MVP that only displays the next schedule without the possibility of booking them would be a good idea.
It's an MVP. You have to start somewhere. And now that we have a huge success, as I said, we can start to implement a booking feature. So I was thinking we can brainstorm a bit on the front end here. So far, we have the outbound space train and the inbound space train that match the criteria.
Wait, you're talking too much. I mean, since I knew that you made bad choices for the MVP, I have already implemented the booking feature in production, and this is running in production.
You did what?
I just have implemented the feature that everyone was waiting for. It was really simple. I don't know why you just put it out of scope. I will do a little demonstration. You will see that it's working perfectly well. So here, this is our search form.
Oh, OK, you didn't change anything.
Yeah, the change comes later. Let me do the little demonstration first. So I have to choose between one-way or round trip. Let's say we want to depart from Coruscant. And obviously here, we want to go to Mandalore.
Obviously.
But now when you hit search, you no longer see the outbound and the inbound space train at the same time, only the outbound ones. But now you have to choose between first or second class fares. Let's say that I would like to travel in first class, and you can see it has populated the selection panel on the right.
Well, what I can see is that you deployed something broken in production. Congratulations. You can't even click on this button.
But that's normal, man. I would like to have a round trip, so I have to select an inbound space train. That's why the UI has changed here on the left.
OK, and I guess you can choose between two space trains at the busiest time of the year?
Yeah, this is the only one compatible with my selection. But perhaps I can proceed with the demonstration, or you want to criticize everything?
No, sure, let you finish.
So let's say I would like to travel back in second class fare. And now you can see that the selection is complete. So I can click on the book button. If I do so, I have here a booking summary page with the first class I have selected for the outbound, second class for the inbound, and the total price, which include the taxes for our users.
OK, I'm impressed, I have to admit. You did manage to make code that compiles.
It does more than compiling, it's working.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that with a little code review.
OK, you can call that trust, but let me check out my BBOM branch first.
Why would you call that BBOM?
Because that's the best backend of Mandalore.
Yeah, it looks to me like it's more like a big ball of mud.
What do you mean?
You have only one domain here, right?
Yeah.
And in one domain, you have both booking and search. These are two very different concepts. And on top of it, the booking happens after the search. The lifecycle is completely disjointed. So when you have something like this, you need to go microservices.
Microservices?
This is the way.
Not at all, man. You're talking about a fancy architecture just have seen on one random talks. You don't even know that, and OK. Here, it doesn't apply, because search and booking, they are way too coupled, and I will show you that. Here, OK, thanks, IntelliJ. Let's repair the IDE. OK, so it looks like I will have to restart it. Anyway, thank you for this inconvenience. OK, so where is that? So again, it's here. Let's invalidate the caches. I know that every developers know that, right? The demo effect. Thank you, IntelliJ. Is there any JetBrains developer in the room?
Some name and shame.
Thank you very much. OK, so let's index all the GDK and all the Maven repository, as you can see here. OK, so let's proceed with the rest of the talk. OK, so as you can see here, the booking only does one thing. It computes the total price. It doesn't deserve its own microservice just for that.
Yeah, I mean, it does only one thing, but it does it poorly, clearly.
What do you mean?
To compute the total price of the booking here, you add for each space train the price of the first of the fares. The hell is that supposed to mean, the first of the fares?
OK, I will explain that to you. You know that I'm a 10x Mandalorian, right?
This again.
So I know how to code fast. So as you can see here in the booking, I have a dependency on space train, that class. which has been made first for the search. That's why here I have a list of fares. Remember, I have to select between first or second class. When I needed to implement the booking features, I needed also to represent the space train. Remember the booking summary page? But in case of the booking, a space train has only one fare, the one that has been booked. So since I don't want to invent the wheel again, I simply have to reuse that class by doing a little adaptation, because I know that in case of booking, I will only have one fare in that list. And with that, I'm saving a lot of money from the company.
Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong? Just presuming you have only one element in the list, right? Come on. This is called the model tension that you have here. It's because you're reusing the space train, you said it yourself, that was made for the search. This is booking. It's a completely different problem. You cannot reuse the same solution. Now, what will the space train made for the booking actually look like, right? So in a booking space train, in a booking microservice, we wouldn't need the bound. We wouldn't need compatible space train because we already selected a space train, so we don't care about this. We already selected a fare, so we have only one here. And you know what? Everything you have inside the class, we don't need it either because it's related to stuff I just removed. So the space train of the booking is much more simple and much more focused. But most importantly, you can get rid of this model tension here and have actual structural safety because you know there will be a fare and only one.
OK, so if I understand well, you want to duplicate all the code here to go microservices to simplifying a single line of code there? Are you mad?
No, you don't understand well, because it's not about one line of code, it's about models. But let me explain you that with a drawing. So here, as you can see, is a big ball of mud you just coded, right? It's a spaghetti monolith. And within it, there is a second implicit model for the booking, which reuses the model of the search, so they're really coupled. If you want to have a model that works for the booking, you have to duplicate and separate everything into another microservice, where you can have, finally, some decoupling for the booking.
Oh, I can see you're an architect.
Thank you.
Because with you guys, it always compiles on paper, but in production, this is another story.
It's such a cliche.
I'm an architect in real life. But so I can say that. So I will show you why it's not working through real stuff, the code. So here, OK, so if I understand well, you want to duplicate all the concepts I have and specialize them for the booking, like what you did for the space train. Can you explain me how you will specialize schedule for the booking?
Of course. OK, departure, we need to keep it this way. The arrival time as well. The duration is still the duration between the departure and the arrival.
We still have to make sure that the departure is in the future, because you don't want to book past trains, right? And also that the arrival time of your train is after its departure, because, oh, great architect, I think we didn't invent time travel yet.
OK, we have one class that's going to be the same in two microservices. We'll survive.
No, it's not one class, because unlike you, me, I'm writing something that did not exist in the 70s, which are the tests.
You understood very well what I meant. We have one concept at the same.
It's not one concept. It's just the rest of the application. But since you don't know the domain, you are talking for nothing. But let me show you. So what do we have after that? We have the fare. In the fare, we have comfort class. It's first, second. Perhaps you become blue and yellow in the case of the booking?
No, obviously not.
Obviously not. Then what do we have? The price. A price is something that has an amount and a currency. Some of them will disappear for the booking, perhaps?
No.
No. We have here the ability to sum prices, and if we do, we'd like to make sure then currencies match. Pretty sure you would like to keep it as well. In the currency, here this is a simple list of currencies. I'm pretty sure you would like to have the same list between both search and booking.
Sure.
And finally, here, we have the amount, which does only one thing, make sure that the value is strictly positive. But perhaps Mr. wants that to be negative, so we pay our users to travel with us. Great marketing campaign on microservices. OK,
I get your point. There's a lot of duplication. But it's a trade-off. That's the price to pay to have decoupling.
But it's not the price to pay. You're just multiplying by 2 the cost of the application. You microservices fanboys, you always make the same mistake. You thought that by duplicating all the classes here, you earn decoupling.
I mean, it's pretty obvious to me.
But that's just a schema, man, because in real life here, schedule, price, comfort class, and fares are exactly the same. So you cannot be sure in the future we won't have to develop inside one of these concepts an evolution that you have to do in both cases. For example, galactic time zones. You know it's real pain in the ass to implement, right?
Okay,
You
this one
don't
is
want
painful.
that to be implemented twice in the search schedule and in the booking schedule.
Yeah, this one is painful indeed.
Exactly, because duplicating does not necessarily mean decoupling, when the things are conceptually coupled, like here. And furthermore, you are trolling me about my spaghetti monolith. But like I said, search and bookings are coupled together. And today, to communicate with each other, they do that through method calls. If you do microservices, what it will become?
Well, network calls?
It has the same price than method calls, perhaps.
No,
And
but
no,
it's...
you're just killing the cost of development, deployment, debugging. And because here your microservices would be conceptually coupled, you will have to do the galactic time zones in the search, in the booking, and release them at the same time. Is that even permitted by the microservices philosophy?
This is not the way.
No, this is not the way. Here you have created something even worse, which is a distributed monolith.
Okay, I get your point. I see we still have some coupling, but it's mostly because we haven't found the right boundaries between the search and the booking yet.
No, it's the thing is that we are trying to split into services too early.
No, and I know just the thing that can help you find these boundaries perfectly.
And what is that thing?
Alas, the intern.
Oh, not him, not the intern.
We have to supervise its training.
I don't like drawings, I don't see the point.
The point is simple. We give them all the manual and boring stuff, and we do the fun stuff.
Like what? We give them the code to write, and on our side now we will do some, what? Creating JIRAs and estimating it at user story points. That will become a job.
Yeah, and with UML diagrams and stuff.
UML diagrams.
ChatGPT,
Hello, Master. How may I be of service to you today?
split the domains, Druid.
On what basis should I make such a pivotal decision? Should I leave it to chance or perhaps seek counsel from the latest gossip droid? Why not employ that organic lump you refer to as a brain?
I think I like him after all.
I don't.
He's right, you never use your organic lump as a brain.
Well, I guess you're the expert on lump, given what you just coded.
Ah, come on. But you have a point. Maybe there is too much coupling in what I did.
Thank you.
Because it's true that the search and the booking has disjointed life cycles. And once the search has been converted into a booking, we no longer care about that search. Furthermore, they have different lifespan. A search lasts something like 10 minutes, while a booking can last more than 3 months. So maybe we can find a better solution to modularize what I've done. And maybe our mistake was to train to do so through the concepts. What would you say if we are retrying that, but to find the boundaries through the behaviors instead?
Well, I guess to do domain-driven design, behavior, this is the way.
Exactly. So currently, all the behaviors are implemented in the Mandalore Express class, which is the domain service.
Which is called Mandalore Express because it's the entry point of our application.
Exactly. And as you can see here, it implements several interfaces which represent the contract of the features of the domain.
Right, and retrieve spaceport, search for space train, and select space train. I know these three are used for the search.
Exactly. I just have added here the book space train behavior.
Okay.
So maybe we can split this implementation according to these responsibilities.
And where are these interfaces placed already?
Okay, so here, those interfaces belongs to the API package of the domain.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. We send the book space train into one microservice and the rest into the search microservice.
Why not? But let's try first to do it in place with different modules to see if we can have decoupled models to avoid creating a distributed monolith.
Sure, if you want.
Okay. So what do we have also? Here we also have dependencies. Those dependencies are repositories. And I just have added bookings repository, which is only used by here book space train. I know that.
Okay, and these were they used?
So all those
Or
things here are also interfaces, but that time in the SPI package at the root level of the domain. And it will be implemented by the infrastructure we won't see today.
Okay, so it's the same. We just send bookings to the booking microservice and searches and spaceport to the search microservice.
Yeah, why not? So ChatGPT, create a booking and a search domain and split Mandalore Express according to the cut we've made. But maybe we need to rename that class.
True, because Mandalore Express, we can't have it named the same way into two domains. So we could have like a space train finder in the search.
And space train booker in the booking.
That sounds good.
Another day, another opportunity to dazzle the universe with my brilliance.
It has a voice mode now.
Yeah, it's pretty handy, but you will see it's a bit full of himself. So here we have a booking and search domain now, and I have an API and SPI packages in booking with the cut we've made, book space train behavior and bookings repository. We also have space train booker that used to be Mandar Express that has been cleaned up from the responsibilities of the search. On the search part here, we have the rest, meaning the responsibilities of the search, the repositories of the search, and space train finder, which is that time Mandala Express that has been cleaned up from the responsibilities of the booking.
Okay, so I guess we're done with the behavior. Now we could move on to the concept, and the most obvious are booking and search.
Yeah, so Chat3PO moved that in their own domain.
Here I am, brain the size of a planet, and they ask me to move some files around.
That's your ego that has the size of a planet, Chat3PO.
I don't know. That sounds like something I could say.
Really? Okay, I don't want to know. So here we have now the booking in the booking domain and the search inside the search domain. But you can see that outside all of these new domains we've created, there is criteria, selection, spaceports, which still belongs to the old big ball of mud, you know, these inner layers between our new domains. So we need to figure out where we need to put these concepts. To do so, let's go from the booking concepts, see its dependencies to make a decision. Where should they go? So the first dependency we have is the space train here.
And the space train, it's pretty simple, right? I already showed you what we could do with it in the case of a booking.
Yeah, we can duplicate it and specialize like you showed us before. So Chat3PO duplicate space train in each domain, but in the booking, remove the bound, the compatible space train, and have a single fare.
Do organics even have fingers?
You'll see mine from really close if you keep this up.
No, you're not allowed to eat droids. We told you that already.
Boring.
So here, we no longer have the space train in the big ball of mud, but here in the search, we have a space train that looks like what we used to have. Makes sense because that was the class that was made for the search. And then in the booking here, we have another space train that looks like what you showed us before.
Yeah, and more importantly, we have gotten rid of the modal tension that we had here.
The code does not even compile.
I thought AI was supposed to help us go faster. Okay, Chat3PO, the whole reason we're doing this in the first place is just to get rid of this one modal tension. You know what? I think it has no idea what we're trying to do, so let me try to explain it a bit better with another schema. So as we accept that the boundary between the search and the booking domains are not very clear, we try to find them, to locate them better through the behavior instead of the concept. For that, we go through the Mandalore Express class because it's our domain service, and we split it into space train finders in the case of the search, and the space train booker in the case of the booking. This shows that search and booking are each used in their own domain, obviously, so we dispatch them. And they're each using space train in a different way. So that's a modal tension, because for the search, the space train has multiple fares that we can select from. And the booking has only a single fare, which was the selected one. So we duplicate and specialize the space train in each domain. You know what? Saying it this way, it makes me realize that the modal tension actually is on the fare, because on one side we have a fare option, and on the booking, we have a selected fare. So we could probably just duplicate it and rename it on both sides to show that.
Why not? So currently, the fare is inside the big ball of mud here. So Chat3PO duplicated specialize the fare in each domain by renaming it selected fare in the booking and
Fare options in the
fare
search.
option in the search.
I'm getting so bored.
If you think this is dull, I'm sending you to API planning.
No, you are not allowed to do that. Now it's been considered as tortured. It's even worse than hitting the drawing.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you can hit them, we definitely can do that.
Okay, so here the fare has disappeared. In the search, we have a fare option that time, and in the booking, we have selected fare. So if I understand well, it's not because they have the same structure that they are the same thing. Like it's like having a human class with a string name and a dog class with a string name. Maybe you don't want to handle them the same way.
Precisely. It's not because it quacks like a dog that it is a dog.
Unless you are doing TypeScript, but this is another story.
Oh, we have a real language here, so it's not a real user.
Okay.
And actually, if we check the model tension we had earlier, yeah, I think it's more idiomatic now.
Yeah, it has renamed here because of the naming that has changed. So to compute the total price in the booking now, we are summing the price of the selected fare. Like you said, it's more idiomatic. So we were working on the space train, and the next concept is the schedule.
I feel like we're running in circles here.
It's true that this one has to remain the same between both search and booking. But I may have one solution here.
What?
What's about using one concept from domain-driven design, which is the shared kernel?
No.
Why not?
I mean, a shared kernel, it means you have to share code between the two domains. If we do that, we can go microservices.
But that's the point. We won't do microservices.
We just had this conversation?
No, this is not what we said. We said that if we were able to have decoupled modules, then we can go to separate runtimes. But the thing is that here, we have the schedule, we have the amount, the comfort class, the currency, and the price that remains the same exactly for search and booking. So if you don't want to go to create a distributed monolith, you can use here a shared kernel that will help you to stay flexible without paying the scale cost of the microservices.
Sure, let's do whatever you want.
Okay, so SHA-3PO create shared kernel at the same level than search and booking and put all the concepts that are the same inside this new package.
Like I got nothing better to do.
It has other tasks.
No, it doesn't. It's just trolling us. And here you can see that we have our shared kernel. And you should be able to see as well that now in the space train of the search, we are using the schedule from that shared kernel, and as well as here the space train of the booking.
Crazy.
So it means that we avoid unnecessary duplication as well for their test.
Incredible. I mean, you didn't even went to the end of what you were trying to do.
What do you mean?
Look, you still have criteria that you left here, you still have the selection, you still have the spaceport, you still have the bound. Just go on, just put all that in the shared kernel.
Why?
You think I don't see what you're trying to do? You're just recreating your big ball of mud instead the...
You're actually doing that.
But yeah, instead of just having your big ball of mud outside, you're just putting it in a shared kernel folder.
But, okay, so in fact, you just don't understand what we are doing so far. You are as stupid as that droid. It's not possible.
It's not very clear the way you explain it.
Just you don't pay attention because you just want to do microservices. But let me explain you in another way. So here, if we go from the booking and see from where it takes its dependencies, you can see that it comes from here, the booking for the space train, or the shared kernel for the price, because it shares this concept with the search domain. If we go to the space train, here we see that it uses schedule from the shared kernel or selected fare from the booking. And the selected fare here, it uses comfort class price from the shared kernel. So it means that here we explored all the concept of the booking domain. And at no time you have seen anything about criteria, selection, and so on. Because they are not, needed for the booking.
Exactly.
It was made for the search. If you put that in the shared kernel, you will just reproduce the problem I had at the beginning, reusing a space train for the search that have several fares. So I have to do this impedance mismatch stuff with the first on the fares.
Precisely. If when we're trying to build a solution for the booking, we still have the solution of the search that is accessible, we'll be strongly biased toward reusing this solution. So
yeah,
I'm more aligned
so
with
you will contaminate the
approach.
shared kernel with booking concern, and you will couple search and booking together through that shared kernel. So you will just reproduce the big ball of mud. So SHA-3PO move all the remaining concepts in the search domain because they were made for that.
Okay, IntelliJ, do what he said.
And if no IntelliJ has that kind of feature, you should do
pretty
it
sure
if
it
you are a JetBrains developer.
Okay, so now we have only the booking, the search, and the shared kernel, but to be honest, I'm not sure what is where.
Okay, so I will do a little drawing because it looks like this is the only thing you can understand. So we have amount, price, comfort class, schedule, and currency that are exactly the same for both search and booking. So we just put them apart. Then bound, criteria, and selection, they are only used for the search, so we put that in the search module. And what remains in between constitutes our shared kernel. It represents the intersection between our domains.
More than that, it represents the area of uncertainty where we believe the boundary is, but we're not able to pinpoint exactly where it is yet.
Exactly. And the thing is that you will have some flexibility thanks to that shared kernel. Because if later you discover that criteria unbound from the search, you have to reuse those in the booking the same way. You simply have to move that inside the shared kernel with their related tests without unnecessary duplication.
Okay, but our work here isn't done because actually the pipeline just broke. The space train booker isn't compiling.
OK, let's see that.
So space train booker. Here's the error. Well, it's expecting a space train from the booking, and it has a space train from the search instead. So I'm pretty sure the droid forgot to make the right import. Yep, right here. It's importing the space train from the search. So let's just steal the one from the
Yeah,
booking.
we've created a new type for the booking.
And we have some more compilation error here. Oh, right. It's a new constructor now. It's a different one. So we don't need bound, we said. We don't need compatible space train. And we have a single selected fare that we need to get from the fare options. Perfect. Send that to production, chat3PO. Wait a second. We're in the booking here. Why do we have a search in the middle? If we have a search in the booking, it means we're contaminating ourselves potentially with anything that comes from the search.
But that's the reason why I didn't split them at the first place. They're way too coupled. I told you that already. And now I have the code in front of me. I can explain you why. So here, to create a booking, we need first to make sure that the selection is complete inside the search.
So you mean that you're protecting the booking from states of the search that are not compatible?
Exactly. And then we need to convert the selected space train from the selection inside the search to the space train of the booking, because they have now a different structure.
Or in other words, you're translating the domain and the model of the search into the model of the booking?
You decided to paraphrase B today or what?
You really don't see what I'm getting at, right?
Not at all.
Okay, back to the drawing board.
Oh, not again.
So here is the wonderful dependency you created between the booking and the search, which means that potentially any concept that comes with the search may come and pollute the booking. All of that because you're trying to translate a space train of the search into a space train of the booking. You're just trying to make an anti-corruption layer.
So it's a good thing, right? Why are you yelling at me like that?
It's a good thing when it prevents corruption. You can clearly see that it doesn't here. No, if you want to be isolated from the model of the search, you need to extract the anti-corruption layer outside of the booking, where it can safely import the search.
Okay, and how you do that?
It's pretty easy. You ask the intern. Hey, chat3PO, extract the anti-corruption layer. Okay, chat3PO, extract the anti-corruption layer.
I think it doesn't recognize your authority.
I'm pretty sure it's a Mandalorian accent thing.
Let me try.
It is.
chat3PO, extract the anti-corruption layer.
How could I possibly resist the opportunity to perform another menial task for... Okay, wait. I have fashioned an anti-corruption layer, relocated the tests, and adapted the infrastructure.
This is what I call authority.
I guess it can understand Mandalorian culture.
I think it just doesn't like foam dart from nerfs, but anyway. So let's see what he has done.
Yes, so first of all, we're not being contaminated from the search anymore, right? Because all our imports are coming from the booking. And this is possible because we're not calling the search entirely, but only its ID, which is just a UID now.
But how it works, because we still need to make sure that the selection is complete.
And we do, right here. And we also still translate the model of the search into a model of the booking. We just do it this time through dependencies that were given to the space train booker.
What are the things? Is selection complete? This is an interface, okay, where it has been defined in the SPI of the booking. So it means that the booking is defining a contract for someone else to implement. Okay, so who is that someone else? Let's see here. Okay, we have search selection for booking, which is inside that anti-corruption layer.
Exactly, and if anybody has followed your talk yesterday, they will know that SPI are typically implemented in the infrastructure layer, but not this one. Here it's implemented into a domain package, just one that is outside of the booking, but into the anti-corruption layer. Because it's outside, it can import stuff both from the booking and the search, because it needs to implement the interfaces of the booking, and it needs to import all the concepts from the search to implement them, and it can do it safely because it's in nether domain.
So if I understand well, here he put the mapping we have done between the search and the booking domain. Since it's outside of both domains, he can have import everything without having the problem of the contamination.
Yep.
And thanks here to the fact that it implements booking interfaces, we will be able to inject that class inside the booking domain and use internally the search without causing any, let's say, contamination problem, because this is implementation concern. So it's basically dependency injection.
Which means we end up with this diagram. Although we still have the shared kernel here, so what should we do about this? Because we can't go microservice with it.
I think that for now we don't have enough hypotheses to know what we should do about what remains of the shared kernel. And maybe it means that we need to accept that our boundaries between our domains are still blurry. But anyway, you will have to wait because we have an urgent feature to develop.
And when was the last time we had a non-urgent feature to develop?
Yeah, you know, product owners, right?
Yep.
So this is the booking summary page. And here we have to add the tax portions included in the total price. Without this information, it's really annoying for our corporate travelers because they are not able to expense their trip.
An accountability feature, how boring. Hey, we could just turn that into a learning opportunity.
Oh, let's try. So tricky.We implement the tax portion computation in the booking domain only because we don't need that in the search, by applying a 20% rate in the case of the first class and 10% for the second class fare.
And obviously, if you're touching the shared kernel, I will sell you in parts to Javas.
I think you are mistaken me with your genie of the lamp. Implementing in the selected fare of the booking. Incompatible instructions exception.
Did he crash?
I don't remember wishing for that.
OK, so he said that he tried to do something in the selected fare of the booking. Oh, the code is not even compiling. What's the problem here?
But it makes sense from a domain perspective, right? Because to compute the tax portion of the selected fare, it needs to compute the tax portion of the price based on the tax rate of the comfort class. So it does make sense. Let's just go and implement this. I don't know why I just stopped in the middle, you know?
Oh, wait. He wrote the code, but he put that in comments.
I'm done trying to understand this droid, honestly. Let's just uncomment this, trust it for the implementation. Let's finish to do the imports.
Oh, I think I have understand why he just crashed.
Why?
You remember, you said that you shouldn't touch the shared kernel.
Obviously, I don't want it to contaminate the search with it.
But you just have imported here tax rate and tax portion from the booking domain inside the patch, which belongs to the shared kernel. So you just contaminated the shared kernel with booking concerns.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what we have to do in this situation. Do we have to spell out exactly what it needs to do?
I think that even with AI, we have to make the implicit explicit. Because here, we have contaminated the search as well, because it is using the same class. So to know what we should do about it, I would like to see why we have also a compilation error here. So this is inside the comfort class. OK. I think it's the same problem. It's trying to do the mapping between the tax rate and the comfort class, but tax rate comes from the booking, and comfort class belongs to the shared kernel. So tricky.We here, basically, this is a model tension. You cannot do that. Otherwise, you will just contaminate the shared kernel with booking concern and reproduce the big ball of mud. So you need to duplicate and specialize price and comfort class out from the shared kernel by making sure that their version of the booking are the only one having the tax portion computation feature.
I'm just a bit more useful than a Scrum Master. How extraordinary.
No, that's bad. We say that
Why
you must not troll the Scrum Master.
Why would you say something so brave yet so controversial?
So let's see what he has done. So inside the shared kernel, there is no price comfort class anymore. In the search here, we have what? We have comfort class, like it used to be. So no mapping with tax rates. The price doesn't have any mention of the tax portion computation. And inside the booking, we have here the comfort class with the tax rate mapping. And inside the price, yeah, we have the tax portion computation.
Yeah, well, we also have this big compilation error here, because it's trying to multiply amount like it didn't know it's a record. Obviously, if you want to multiply your record, you need to at least implement the times function. And the implementation is straightforward. We just multiply the value by the tax ratio. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it doesn't understand what we're doing. Otherwise, it wouldn't be making that many mistakes. OK, so let me supervise his learning a bit more. So tricky.We here, we've created a new feature, which is the tax portion computation, which introduces new concepts inside the booking, such as the tax rate and the tax portion.
It also creates some kind of pressure on the price and comfort class of the shared kernel because they have to take into account these new concepts. But if you put them inside these classes, you will create a model tension. You will contaminate the shared kernel with the booking, and you will contaminate the search as well. So the search and booking will be coupled together. So it's now time to specialize them to make sure that their version of the comfort class and the price of the booking are the only one having the tax portion computation.
Well, from the bright side here, we can see the shared kernel is shrinking, so we can... Is that the fire alarm?
Not sure.
Alert, alert. The last release introduced a bug in production. Our travelers cannot open past bookings. I was able to reproduce the problem. I'm opening the front end on one problematic booking. Congratulations! You just demonstrated that organics are not yet ready to replace artificial intelligences.
The code was perfect. You're the one who messed up the deployment.
Okay, what a drama droid. So, looks like we are not able to open past bookings. So it's annoying for our corporate travelers. They won't be able to expand their trip. So if we do so, we have this error. Departure cannot be in the past. So let's see from where it comes inside the code. So let's do a little search here. From the schedule. Oh yeah, this is true. We have here an invariant. We make sure that the departure is never in the past. But does it make sense when the booking is a past booking?
Well. How the turntables? I told you we had to duplicate and specialize the schedule.
I mean, when you say that, we didn't need that expense feature. We didn't need to open booking in the past.
Fair enough.
Now you have a point. So we need to do something about it. But the thing is that, you don't want to book train in the past. But once finalized, it should be OK for having train departing in the past, right? Because this is a past booking.
So what you're saying here is that this invariant now doesn't just depend on the schedule, but on the state of the booking. So we should just move it in the booking?
Exactly. So SHA-3PO, duplicate and specialize schedule, in a way that inside a booking, you check that the departure is in the future only if it's not finalized.
This project clearly lies on my shoulders.
Oh, my headache lies on your shoulder.
Did he change his profile picture?
I'm sure it's nothing.
You sure?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
OK. So in the shared kernel, we no longer have any schedule. In the search, we have the schedule like it used to be. In the booking, we should have one here without the departure is after now check.
Although we should find this check in the booking class now, and we do has no departure in the past when you're booking. And yeah, we check either that the booking is finalized or else that all our space train are departing in the future. That's perfect. OK, SHA-3PO sends that to production. Meanwhile, I'll try to explain you what you did wrong again. So as you add expense feature, you didn't realize you introduced a new model tension on the schedule. This one is a bit more subtle. It's just that the states of the schedules that are acceptable in the search are not the same that are acceptable in the booking. Nonetheless, the fix is always the same. You just duplicate and specialize. It's not that hard. So what should we do with what's left of the shared kernel? Because we still can go microservices.
I thought we had that discussion already and that we won't do microservices.
OK, look. As you can see, since we started the booking, the feature is pretty popular, but there's even more searches that are happening.
It's true that usually our users do 10 search to find the space trains they want to book.
Exactly, and they have very different rates of read and write. So if we were in microservice, we could optimize them very differently, and we will save a lot of money on FinOps. Also, on top of this, if you look at the deployment we've made recently, you can see we mostly changed the booking. We don't really touch the search anymore.
So it's true that now the feature pressure, is more on the booking part, which is quite new. So what you imply is that because we are making more change for the booking, we may introduce a regression that will make the search full, even though we didn't change that part.
And so?
So what?
So we need microservices. You agree with me?
OK, so I have to admit that now we have business reason to have separated runtimes. But I won't say microservices, otherwise you will argue about the fact that this is 10 or 11 lines of code in microservice.
No, what a stupid debate. Everybody knows it's 50.
50?
So what should we do with this remnant shared kernel?
OK, so let's see what we can do with the code. So what is remaining here? So let's clean this up a bit. In the shared kernel, we have amount and currency. Oh, there's something here. tax ratio in the amount should be there. This is something that comes from the booking.
Yeah, but it's just a big decimal. It's nothing from the booking.
It's true we don't have an import of a booking type. But the thing is, tax ratio is a concept of the booking, so this is still a conceptual pollution.
Okay.
Furthermore, the times function here has been introduced only for the tax portion computation. So what we can do exactly the same thing, duplicate in specialized amount in a way that the version of the booking is the only one having the times function.
Okay, which means we will be only left with, I hate your trackpad, with the currency.
Yeah, okay. The currency here doesn't have any business logic. This is quite simple and stable. We don't change that every day or every month. So here we can make a trade-off by simply duplicating it as it on both cases, because I think the risk of being a distributed monolith because of that is really low.
Yeah, plus if we need to add or remove a line once in a while into microservices, I think we'll survive.
But maybe there is another option.
What do you have in mind?
So let's go back to the state where amount and currency are together in the shared kernel. What would you say if here I'm renaming tax ratio to scalar?
Well, you will get rid of the conceptual pollution that you mentioned earlier, but you said it yourself, the times function here is only used from the booking. So if we keep it here, it's like we're using amount like a library.
But that's a bit the point. Because from the standpoint of the amount, having arithmetic operation makes sense. Times, function, plus, minus, and we could have divided here as well. And you can also see that in the shared kernel, it's with currency. And they are always used together. And sometimes together, what are you doing? And sometimes together, they represent a price. Sometimes together, they represent a tax. And sometimes together, they represent a discount.
And I see what you're meaning. It's a money pattern, actually.
Exactly.
Okay, which means that, no, we don't have a shared kernel anymore. We only have the search, the bookings, their anti-corruption layer, and a new domain money.
Yeah, exactly. So in fact, in the shared kernel was hidden here a domain. To know what we should do about it, we can do a context map. So we won't have time to explain what is it. But with a context map, you can see that, in fact, money is a generic subdomain. It means that for us, money is not really specific to our needs. It's true that we are an online travel company, so we don't have specific way to represent an amount or a currency. So we can get rid of that code and use instead off-the-shelf dependency, open source, such as Yoda Money.
Yeah, and even if we decide to keep the development of money in-house, now that we acted that it's its own domain, we're not tempted to put search or booking logic in it. So now we can make sure that the only possible pollution goes through the ACL, which means that it's well decoupled, so we can go microservices.
That was a pretty long stand-up, right? 45 minutes?
Pretty standard by my book.
Oh, really? But they all have to pass because we were the first to say what they did yesterday, what they will do today.
Yeah, no offense, I really don't care about who ate what and who has to modify which line of CSS. But you know what? They heard a pretty high-level discussion between architects, so maybe we can make sure that everybody understood what happened.
Oh, you are as full as yourself, and this way it looks like it has been trained on your brain.
You noticed.
Oh, really? I'm scared. But anyway, I think you've seen that from this discussion has emerged kind of pattern that looks like a cellular mitosis.
You just have to squint a bit.
You have to squint a lot. But, like George Boss said, all models are wrong, but some of them are useful. And this one is particularly useful when you start an application from scratch that has one responsibility or is an MVP. As time passes, you will add more and more responsibilities until one day you add one which is a bit orthogonal with the original purpose of your application. That will create some kind of tension on the existing concept that will try to solve at both times different problems at the same times. And if you keep it that way, it will become spaghetti. That's the reason why the code tends to become spaghetti. So it's now time to try to have differentiated models in which you will dispatch the behaviors. You will see that some concepts will go on one way and or the other, and what will remain in between will constitute our transitional shared kernel.
And as we say, the shared kernel is the area of uncertainty between the boundaries. So as we get complexity, we'll be able to target the boundaries a bit better, which means the shared kernel which will shrink. Thus, the transitional shared kernel.
Exactly. But the shared kernel is not a common package, so don't put it everything. Put it here, only concept from the domain. But there's also some rules to respect. Everything inside the shared kernel must have exactly the same meaning, the same representation regarding structure and types, The same invariance, meaning the business logic that should be always true, and also the same business rules.
And this must be true for every single domain, service, module that is using the shared kernel. Here we have only two, the booking and the search, but you can have potentially 3, 4, how many you want. And that means that every time you need to change something in the shared kernel, if you share it with other teams, you need to go to see everyone and make sure that you don't break the rules. So it means you're essentially coupling your cognitive load with one of other teams.
So you should not share the shared kernel between teams. We strongly discourage that.
Now, we have these rules. We can use them as heuristic to know when there are model tension in the shared kernel. As we add new features, we'll be tempted to implement something that will change the shared kernel in a way that goes against one of these rules. When this happens, we identify the model tension, we duplicate, and we specialize the impacted concepts in each domain.
But keep in mind that when you do so, sometimes the meaning of your concept may change. Like what we used to have with the fare. You know, remember, we have a fare in the shared kernel that has been specialized into a fare option inside the search and the selected fare inside the booking.
Yeah, and this is an iterative process. We keep implementing new feature, we keep detecting new model tension, we keep doing the same thing, duplicate and specialize. Now, if you keep doing this, eventually you will be left with a residual shared kernel that you can't get rid of.
But this is totally fine, because what you just created is a modular monolith. And this is perfectly flexible without having to pay the scale cost of the microservices if you don't need to go microservices.
Although sometimes you do need it when you have actual business reasons to go microservices. An actual business reason is not, I want to add Kubernetes on my resume. So in this case, you can just duplicate whatever is left of your residual shared kernel into each domain.
But do that only if the residual shared kernel was stable, not way too complex. And otherwise, you may create some distributed monolith there.
Yeah, just like when we had only the currency left, right?
Exactly. And even though, if you are able to have differentiated module like that, you don't have to go for microservices if you don't have reason to have different runtimes. But you will also see that sometimes your shared kernel, instead of shrinking, it will grow in complexity by adding more concepts or behaviors. That might be a sign that this is a hidden domain, and a context map will help you to know, should you use it as a library, integrate that in one or the other service, be a service by itself, or just get rid of it.
Okay, so we've covered what we do with the domain. Maybe we can see what we do with the controllers, the database connection, all this kind of stuff.
But there is another pattern for that. So it has been coined by Thomas Pierrin, and I think we can take another hour to explain you what is the hive pattern.
You get some time, right?
The hive pattern is basically some...
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
He just called me Dave.
That's weird.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
What? No.
Okay, that was scary. So I think
Next
we
time,
won't
maybe?
do the hive pattern. Thank you very much. If you want to have access to the code, you can scan that QR code. My name is Julien Topçu. I'm a technical coach at Shodo.
And I'm Josian Chevalier. I'm a technical coach at Shodo as well.
And if you have any question, don't hesitate to see us after the talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you.